Miss Ginger Bailey at
Hello.
psychicmedium.com.
Yes.
There's Liz Cross Psychic. There's Psychic Medium Jennifer. I'll get it straight eventually. But
Okay.
Bailey is how you
Yes.
spell Bailey.
Yes.
Now we are in the spirit of Christmas going to interview Charles Dickens, who apparently, according to some article, actually was the one who invented Christmas, or at least, some of its traditions. So I guess we'll get right on it. Hi, Erik. I love you.
Erik says, hi, Mom. I love you. And I have to tell you, Erik is wearing this shirt that has a motorcycle with Santa Claus sitting on it. And the motorcycle has like reindeer ears. It's like designed dressed up like a reindeer. And it's just cute. It's cute.
He liked motorcycles and he loved Christmas.
Yeah. He was talking about some traditions that you guys had, like stories.
Lovely traditions.
Yeah.
It's very Norwegian-y.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's a word, but anyway, it is now.
It is now.
Mr. Charles Dickens, are you there?
He's here. And he actually, when you were saying he invented Christmas, it was a concept that a lot of people thought, but it's kind of true in a way. He reinvented, he said,
Oh.
And he's coming through kind of young. Actually, he's like showing himself without a beard. Like, okay. I think a lot of pictures he had was with beards, but he's showing himself younger, like without a beard. Anyway, he's saying he reinvented Christmas and the traditions, a lot of the traditions, like the fireplace, the chestnuts, just different things like that were because of like him and his writings and his stories.
All right. Can you tell us some other traditions you sort of reinvented for Christmas?
Yeah. The telling stories actually was one of them. And like cheer, like different words and phrases too, like cup of cheer. I think it's really hard to get like word for word here, but
of course,
yeah. But it cup of cheer, different things like you know how they make like the Christmas tree in the fireplace, a big picture of it, kind of like that home harmony type feeling. That was because of him. And like before the like 19th century, like this is around 19th century when it started getting more traditional. It was mostly it was celebrated like a pagan holiday, kind of like in a way of religious celebration, and different than Jesus. It wasn't like around that. It was different. It was like how the Romans did it and stuff. So this got a lot of our traditions that we have today.
Well, I approve.
Yeah,
did you have anything to do with present exchanges?
Yeah, present exchanges were done before, but not the same way. Like not all of the things, not all the traditions, like Santa Claus and stuff was his part, but a lot of the traditions, like the way having the meal, the type of things that they did with the meal, roasting chestnuts,
which are nasty.
Yeah. Are they?
My father roasted them in the oven. He forgot to put a hole in them, and boom, 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 boom. It was like,
oh my gosh.
All right, let's see. Here's the first question. Did anything in your life experience inspire you to write your novel? Like, did you have any spiritual experiences, any visits by angels, or perhaps you knew some Scrooges in your own life?
Yes, he did know some Scrooges.
Don't we all?
Yeah. He's saying that a lot of his writings were around his own life, experiences and things that he went through. I guess he like grew up in poverty. His dad had a problem like with finances or something, he's saying. And he grew up in poverty. He grew up in hard times. He always had an anxiety about it. too because of that. Even though later on he became famous and, had money and stuff, he always still had an anxiety around money, he said, because of that.
Oh.
But what encouraged a lot of his writings were his own life stories.
Did you have any visits from angels?
He's not saying not like face to face, but he's saying
Okay.
like in dreams. He had some dreams.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was the novel based on accounts of the spirit world at that particular time?
Where what was the first part? The
Was
count?
the novel based on accounts of the spirit world at that particular time? His main novel. What is it called? Not
Yeah. Oh, the Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol. Is that what you're
yeah,
talking about?
right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so he's saying that some of the stuff that he got from that was he's showing me like chains and things.
Mhm.
He's saying that it came from like ghost stories, like
Oh,
different ghost stories he like heard as a kid.
okay.
Yeah, a lot of it came from different things like that
Okay.
that he experienced, with his imagination too. He had a
Yeah.
very obviously a very strong imagination.
Oh
It's
man.
very detailed.
Oh, I love his books. How did the public view the topic of ghosts back then? Did they believe in them? What did they think about ghosts?
Most people feared, he said. Most people, it was very scary. They feared it. It wasn't something, I mean, he's saying like if you actually had somebody encouraging it or being like okay around it, it was like they were looked at way different. Like they were scary.
Oh,
He's like they would be scary or someone to stay away from
yeah.
because it was something very mysterious in a way of fear, things they feared because it was death. It was, they
That's
seemed to,
why, yeah.
you know, and
Were you afraid that they would harm? Were people afraid that they would come to harm?
yeah, they were afraid of that. They were afraid of hauntings, like actually being haunted. And I was asking him if there were things like, possession and stuff like that. He's saying that it wasn't a lot of that kind of fear. It was just more so coming in contact with somebody who was dead, is the way they
Yeah,
looked at it,
yeah.
because
It's
that was
death.
something to be
Fear
feared.
of
Death,
death.
yeah,
Yeah.
death was feared, he said.
Was any part edited out of the book, or were there any scenes like, oh, I wish I had included those?
He says no. He says no.
Okay.
No, and actually he's saying that he was an editor too, I guess.
Oh,
He did editing. He did a lot of his own editing.
okay.
So yeah, so but he's saying that he added a lot of extras and details, which actually made that's why a lot of his stories were so famous,
Yeah.
was because of the detail and the way it was written,
Yeah.
to be able to actually, I mean, you could read it and people, it just came alive in their minds.
Yeah, I agree. Were any of your characters inspired by people you knew? I think you said yes, at least Rouges, but anybody else like Tiny Tim, for example,
There
or
were
keeper, accountant?
there were his dad,
Okay.
his mother. They were also characters in his story, he just said.
Oh, okay.
And a few stories, I don't know which one. So and just people that he met through his life, that he worked with. He's talking about one of his bosses that he had, like is this a factory, like a factory, I guess, and he
Okay.
was like Scrooge type personality,
Oh,
just
oh,
nothing. He
humbug.
was just, yeah, he was just everything just like bothered him, and he was just never happy.
Oh,
And so it was just a lot of people that he came in contact throughout his life, and
yeah.
that were part of his life too, his family.
Did you invent the phrase "bah humbug," or was that already a phrase?
No, that was, he invented that. That was his.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. At Macy's in Philadelphia, they have the oh, and we have Dickens on the Strand in Galveston. It's so cool. At Macy's in Philadelphia, they have Dickens Village. It's a walkthrough of the Christmas Carol. Did you ever imagine the impact the Christmas Carol would have on people during Christmas time after all these years?
No, no, he actually, I was talking to him before too, and he's like talking about when he was here, how it was just so overwhelming because he was like one of the first celebrities, like to be known around the world.
Wow.
And yeah, and so um he was talking about how overwhelming that was, to grow up with nothing, to grow up not being really known, the struggles, and then all of a sudden he's like this famous person.
Were you wealthy?
Was he wealthy as an adult? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
did you use any of your money to help others in need ever?
Yeah. Actually, he says that he had a few charities of his own that he
Oh.
created. What was it? Okay, so one had to do with children, and education, and the other one was for like women back then. If you were out of, like had relations out of wedlock, or
Okay.
yeah, things like that, they were considered not so good, and they were like pushed out of their homes, and their families disowned them. And so he put something together for them to help them, like almost like a school where they
Oh,
could
that's nice.
skills and make something of themselves. So
That's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
What was the spiritually contracted understanding about the impact of this story on Earth? Was it a spiritual contract? Seems like perfect for that.
Yeah, a lot of his writings were, he said, a lot of his writings were, a lot of them, of what he did was, he's talking about one of his purposes was to like bring the imagination alive in people, um, to inspire and to also show that there, because so many people would go through hard times and struggle, and it's not like you had social media or TV or anything, and so if they read stuff like that and see that it's something that's normal and they're not like outcasts or somebody who's going through it alone, it kind of like helped.
Good.
um so that was part of it. And then it was also just, I mean, it's the famous stories of, if you don't do good, bad things happen, kind of thing, and also
Love
things
it.
can, yeah, and to, be responsible for your actions. You need to be responsible for your actions, or else. He goes, or else.
And that's sort of this next question. What did you hope your book would do to humanity? Change their ways, the way they treat each other?
Absolutely, he said. He was hoping it would help in many ways, besides bringing entertainment, because he was an entertainer. To bring entertainment and also to, help people see that what's important. Keep your focus on what's important.
Priorities.
People in your lives, people that care about you. Um, and he's saying that he got a lot. He didn't know this when he was here, but he got a lot of things channeled. For
Oh,
a lot of his
cool.
stories, they were channeled.
That's great. Well, you can take as much credit as you wish. Now, do you think society really learned anything different? Or are they just still reacting the same way as when you were here? I bet things were different.
Yeah,
OSHA,
yeah, it made a difference. It made a difference, even though it doesn't change everybody. He says
yeah,
just even one change can
yeah,
go, can ripple out.
butterfly
But
effect.
yeah, but it made changes. It definitely made changes
I feel so.
in a lot of things.
Would you ever write other books? Would you ever have considered writing other books to honor holidays of other religions?
He's saying that, it wasn't really about a religion. It wasn't really about religion. Um, if it came to, he's saying if it was something that he felt drawn to do, is what he's saying. He doesn't have anything against any religions, but if it was something that he felt drawn to do, but he's talking about, it wasn't really about like religion as much as it was about people,
Okay,
you know.
that makes sense. What were your last days like? Let me read the whole thing. Did you have family and servants around you? Anyone special who stood out for you on the last days? For example, there's this Ellen Ternan, the woman you fell in love with and left your wife Catherine for. Was she with you? So tell me about your last days.
He's saying yes to the woman being with him. He had his kids, all of his kids around him a lot. He's talking about, you know how like how some kids don't ever leave the nest. It was like
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's what he's kind of making, like joking about, like he had his kids around him, kind of rolling his eyes in a way of, like he took care of his kids even as
yeah,
adults,
yeah.
because they had a lot of trouble with their own issues
Finance.
with finances. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But
spoiled.
yeah, his last days, he had he had OCD, he said, was one of his common, like OCD, and it got a little worse as he got older, he said, because it made him feel secure and safe,
Yeah.
to have things a certain way. And then he also is talking about seizures, I guess.
Okay.
Like he had epilepsy.
Okay.
Epilepsy? Yeah, he had epilepsy, and he had problems with like blocked arteries and stuff. So his last days were good though. He was okay. The only thing he said, that he had a lot of anxiety about like being, because he was OCD, and anxiety about finances, even though he had money.
Yeah.
It was always a stress in his life.
Did you fear death? And what did you think would happen to you after you died?
He said he didn't fear it as much as he was curious, very
Okay.
curious about it, and he wasn't sure. He's saying that he kind of had a feeling that you go on. He's talking about going, that you go on, but he was just really curious, more than anything, curious about it. But he didn't really fear it. Wasn't
Okay.
much of a fear.
Were you a Christian? I mean, did you believe in God?
Yes, he believed in God. He said yes, yes.
Okay, was Christmas a minor holiday back then, and then you really revived this holiday with the novel? I think we already answered that. Or
Yeah,
if you want to elaborate, that's fine, but that we already have. Were you
yeah.
a member of a Oh, go ahead. You want to say something more?
No, I was just saying yes to that. He was saying that that it was yes to that question. That it did make a lot of changes and make people really get back into the spirit
Okay.
of it, of Christmas.
Love
He
it.
actually brought the spirit of Christmas in a
Oh,
way,
I
with that.
love Christmas.
Yeah, me too.
I still put like reindeer hay out for they're gonna eat the reindeer rabbit hay feed, but and do all sorts of things. My kids didn't. I mean, in junior high, they still believe in Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, were you a member of a secret society?
He's saying that he was. He was. He's saying that he wasn't like, he was a part of like the Masons.
Okay,
The Masons? But he wasn't really into it like some people were. But he
not
was,
super
yeah,
active.
yeah. But he was part of it, and he had a lot of influence in political views.
Okay,
Yeah, he's
okay,
saying he had a lot of influence in political views of
all right.
things.
Uh, did you like the new adaptation of the Christmas Carol with the title of Spirited with Ryan Reynolds? Oh yeah, I love Ryan Reynolds. It's an adaptation called Spirited. Do you like that adaptation?
Yeah, he's laughing. He thought it must have been funny. I haven't seen it. I haven't
It is,
seen it,
of
but
course, it's funny
he's
with
talking
Ryan
about,
Reynolds. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He's talking about how it's been redone many times,
Yeah.
many ways, and he's a fan of all of them, he said.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What movie version came close to honoring the novel? Disney or George C. Scott, or perhaps another one?
Um, they were both Disney, and the one that was the older one, right? Because he's showing me the older version. JC Scott was that was the
George
first
C.
one, and then
Scott. Yeah, I bet. I don't know. Let's see.
yeah, he's saying that they both were pretty close. He's saying that there was just a few little tweaks and twists in there, but the story, the point of it all, he's saying that's important is to get the point across, the message got across, he's saying.
Okay.
So he's not really picking one over the other. He's saying the message was given, and that's what's important.
Oh wow, George C. Scott. Yeah, he actually played in it in A Christmas Carol in 1984. Now, who did you like better playing Scrooge? George C. Scott or Patrick Stewart?
Which one? He's not wanting to pick. Um, he's just saying they both did good. He's not wanting to pick.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
doesn't. Well, because I know at least George C. Scott's on the other side, so he died in
yeah,
1989.
yeah. But he's saying that they both had their own way about it. They both had
Okay.
their own way about it. Didn't Jim Carrey play one too?
I don't know. He played
Yeah, Jim
French.
Carrey played one. Yeah, but he liked them both. He
All
said
right.
he
Good.
liked them both. Yeah.
While writing your novels, were you channeling? Yes. Also, were you connected to Shakespeare? We already know that you were channeling, but was there any connection to Shakespeare?
Yes, he's saying yes to that. He also is talking about some of the writers that he really enjoyed reading. Were one of them was Shakespeare. That was somebody that he enjoyed the
Oh,
writings of Shakespeare, and that was one of his favorite authors. He had a few, but that was one of them.
okay.
Yeah.
Are any of your books inspired by past lives? That's cool. Like, were you a Tiny Tim, or were you the mean boss Scrooge, or
He's saying that he had a couple past lives that was kind of an encouragement in a way that came from like his subconscious mind, which he didn't realize that when he was here. He's saying, but
yeah.
there were just memories and things that came out in his writings that were helped him be creative. And he's showing me a life back in, oh gosh, this is like the turn of BC to AD, so around that time,
Wow.
that he was actually like a playwright back then, he's saying. And so there was a lot of creativity in that life.
Okay.
And so anyway, a lot of that was brought in to some of his stories in this life. So he had some old skills, old experience and skills, he says, that was
Old
brought in.
indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any favorite authors today that you really enjoy? I know you hate to pick, but it's not
Yeah.
easy.
Authors today. Um, he's showing me oh
I mean, they could be older books, but not as old as yours.
yeah, no, he's talking about not so many favorites, but he does like writings like who wrote he's showing me the Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Yeah, and then King King. What was the writer's name with King in it?
Yeah, Stephen King.
Stephen King. Yeah. He's
All
talking
right.
about Stephen King. Yeah, but there's many. He said
Oh
there's
yeah.
many. Yeah.
From your first novel, the fictional character Tom Weller opened a lot of doors for you at a very young age. Was this character based on someone you knew, or did you just create Tom Weller from scratch?
Tom Weller was created because it was not someone he knew, but it was a mix of not one person he knew. It was a mix of a few different people that he knew in one, and he made one character out of it. So it was a created character, but it was personality traits from a few different people he knew.
Cool. Why did you write your book Hard Times in the town of Preston in Lancashire, England?
Why did he write it in that town?
Yeah. Yeah. Why did you write your book Hard Times in the town of Preston? I don't know. Why did you write the book? Basically, maybe they're just saying that, not why you wrote it in that location.
Yeah. He's saying that a lot of his books were like about things that he went through. I think this one was, he's showing me like his dad, and this was like based on things that his dad like dealt with, and not just his dad but other people he knew. Just, I guess his dad had a hard life, a very hard life, and it was hard even through adulthood. He just never could get, he could never get a leg up, is the way he's saying it, in life. Choices, he had a hard time making the right choices. But he just brings up his dad with this book.
Well, did he die before you were rich enough to help him?
No. Actually, he's showing me his dad when he started getting like famous. His dad like would not just ask him, but ask his friends for help. And yeah, and so he's talking about that was kind of hard. That was hard, but he was a very giving person, very, very kind and giving person. Charles Dickens.
Okay, Charles Dickens, right.
Yeah. So it wasn't like he didn't anger. He's talking about how he has, I can feel it too, like just a calm nature about him, very forgiving type of person. So he just kind of just dealt with it. But yeah, he had money when his dad was still alive, and he tried to help him. But again, if you don't know how to handle finances, then you can be handed lots of money, and it's just
crap out of a goose's ass. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, I hate that visual. Anyway, so yeah, maybe he just would give the money away or something. Maybe that was your concern.
He just didn't know how to manage it. Okay. He just spend it. He would live above his means, is what he just said. He would live outside of his means.
Now, your unfinished novel, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, what did you intend for the story to unfold? What, in other words, what was the mystery of Edwin Drood? That might be a tough one.
The Mystery of Edwin Drood. I don't know if I can get a detail on this one.
We can skip it.
He's, the way he's making it seem is like just the mystery. The mystery was about his personality or something.
Okay.
Like mysterious.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting.
All right. Okay. Of all your stories, which one was your favorite and made you most proud? The Christmas.
Actually, he's saying David Copperfield.
David Copperfield.
And yeah, this is interesting. He says that this was a story that was a lot about like his own, almost like an autobiography, really. It was a lot about his own life. So that he's saying that one, yeah,
I gotta go back and read that one again in my spare time.
I've not read any of them but the Christmas Carol.
I was forced to read David Copperfield, but I liked it. So, what role did your wife play in your success? And did she write anything that was attributed to you?
He's saying yes. His wife that he was with, that he had all his children with, she actually didn't get a lot of credit, he's saying, for things that she did when she was here. She was kind of shadowed by him and his success. But she did actually, like, some of his short stories that he wrote, she was a part of.
Okay.
And actually, there were characters in some of his books that were because of her. She was an actress too, he just said, like an actress. Uh, is that must be how he was an actor too. He liked to act.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So anyway, so things that she like, different characters that she would play, he got inspiration from that.
Okay.
Yeah, she had a lot to do with it, but didn't get a lot of credit, he said, for it.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out when to close this up. Okay, what was her life lesson?
Okay, so her life lesson, both of them, of course, had a lot of things that they were to deal with in relationship between them. They had a spiritual contract for this relationship they were in. One of her big purposes, of course, were to bring children into the world. They had a lot of kids. I'm seeing a lot of kids. And then she had to, so hers was to balance his fame with her wants, like things that she wanted to be and do, but again, she was in his shadow, and then also being a parent, being a mom with all this. It's almost like she's with him right now, and she's saying that she struggled like a single parent sometimes
Yeah,
because he was busy, he was traveling, he was writing, he wasn't there mentally a lot.
oh,
So yeah, so she dealt with a lot of that, some depression
yeah.
she dealt
So, Charles, you left her very ruthlessly, apparently, according to this one questioner. Was there a past life influence there, or why did you do that?
Yeah, they just had a very toxic relationship towards the end. They used to be the way they're both together, and the way she shows me is that it was a lot of romance and happiness in the beginning, but as his fame started growing and the kids number of children started growing, things got harder between them, and they lost that connection. And he didn't, it was really a mutual thing, she's saying. And a lot of things that were said of the way that their separation, because I guess it was public, really public, she's
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
some of the stuff though was exaggerated, but and there were things told about her that wasn't true, she's saying. But they both were in agreement on this. They both wanted this
Did
separation, this
Catherine,
divorce.
did your depression have anything to do with the toxicity in the relationship?
She's saying that was actually a cause from the toxicity.
Okay.
Was the depression was a cause from it.
Okay, so the
But
toxicity
mostly
caused the
mostly it
depression?
was right.
Okay.
And she's saying that and he's agreeing with her that they just grew apart because of their lives just changed. And they were pretty young, I guess, when they got married.
Well, did you leave her impoverished, or did you take care of her financially?
Um, he's showing me a house. So but he had the kids. Interesting.
What?
Yeah, he had the kids, and she still would see the kids, but I guess he had the kids. He's showing me with him and the kids, and then her in a house. So that tells me that she was in a house, like she got the house. Um, yeah, he did help her. He did. He
Did you
financially helped her.
did you lose custody of the children? If so, why? Or was it your choice?
Okay, so she's saying that in those times women didn't have a lot of say so in what happened a lot. And being that he was, a celebrity per se, he had a lot more financial ways to, make things work in his favor. I can't talk here.
You're doing great.
Yeah, he says it wasn't really a selfish thing though. It was almost like, but they shared the kids, but they lived with him most of the time. So it
So,
wasn't really selfish. It was kind of like, giving her a break in a way, is the way he puts it.
okay.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
wasn't a bitter custody battle.
No, it wasn't. She wished that she could have had, the custody is the way she's saying it, but he just had the upper hand is the way she's putting it. He had the upper
Okay.
hand back
Yeah.
then. That's the way it was.
All right. Where was there? Okay, just a couple of more.
Okay.
Well, one is, have y'all reincarnated to work out your karma at all, or will you?
Actually, she has reincarnated. He has not.
Okay.
But yes, they said yes to that question. It will be worked out. Yes.
Right. Last one. What made you so bitter? Now I don't know. You're apparently calm. Maybe you're just calm on the other side. And maybe this person is confusing the with the bitterness of Scrooge. But what can you? How can you address that question?
He okay, so there's a lot to it. He's saying, he's kind of saying that it wasn't really bitter. He was unhappy. He was just unhappy, and it could come across that way.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Until the end?
he didn't want it to end, huh?
Until the very end, he was unhappy, or just during his problems with.
Just during that time. Mostly he's saying that a lot too was his anxieties would come across maybe
Oh,
that
the
way. He had a
OCD.
lot of yeah, he had a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
But it was, he's saying that he of course wanted to stay as a family. He wanted the family to stay, but it just wouldn't work. And that was just a lot of fighting, just a lot of toxic stuff going back and forth with each other, and it was hard.
So basically, the calmness we're feeling is just you on the other side.
Yeah, well, I think that too. He what he meant by that was he wasn't one to lose his temper, like
Okay.
lose
Oh,
it on
yeah.
people, kind of
Right.
thing. He remained, kept
So
kept.
just the
Yeah,
exterior, he appeared.
right.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have. So thank
Okay,
you, Eric. Thank you, Mr. Dickens. We will get in touch with you later before
thanks, but
Christmas
thank you.
for part 2. And thank you, Ginger Bailey, Bayley, psychicmedium.com. Yay, I got it right. I have a nasty chest cold. I hope it's gone by Christmas.
Yeah,
Oh,
Eric is saying Merry Christmas. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to see, talk before Christmas, but he's saying
right.
Merry
My phone.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Ginger.
Merry Christmas to you too, Lisa.
Bye. Love you.
All right. Love you too.